So hello everyone, my name is Triton and I'm here with Brandon Williams, and we're going to be studying a Murashima Yoshikatsu versus Kitani Minoru game. Let's go through the moves real quick on my... There we go. Oh, nice and loud. Yeah, so he starts... this is one where he starts with your opening, I guess?
Yeah.
And the enclosure here. So you did get this from him, though, right?
Yeah, I did.
Not from a different pro at the time?
Nope. Just Kitani's favorite opening.
Oh, make sure I had the move order right. Okay. So this is where I think we could probably say something here, because
yeah,
this seems already like a sort of a weird opening. I mean, after having played you many times using this opening, I'm not sure I like white.
Yeah, this is actually one he started off playing this the D5 move.
Oh yeah,
but eventually that turns into playing Q3 right away.
Okay. If they open, okay.
So he probably gets a result in this game that he doesn't quite like, and so he goes to where he prefers to not even play in that corner and plays Q3 and takes away his instead.
So,
but I think the difference.
What do you think you would play here? Because I would be tempted maybe to do maybe top left instead of answering directly.
I would see both of these. Because the thing I was going to say was maybe here he doesn't like to play the Q3 because he played two 3/5s.
Oh, okay.
So he might see those as Miai, to where if white takes one, he stops the other.
Yeah, that could
so
be
I
true.
feel like he would attach in the corner here at C3.
Well, let's see what he plays real quick, since that way I don't break the tree too much.
Okay.
Okay, so he did this one first.
Okay.
So let's go back to this real quick. So what I was going to say here before I was going to start clicking on the board. That's why I wanted to see the move first. But I was thinking that, like, first of all, I don't like the high position of D5, but I was thinking if he approached from this side, like it sort of ruins the D5 stone.
Yeah.
But it looks good with the P16 stone. So that was like that's my first idea.
Probably,
but yeah.
Like I said, that's probably why he plays Q3, is because when he pushes down there, it doesn't hurt his D5 stone as much.
Yeah, that's why I think Q3 actually does make a bit more sense. Because like the top is still open enough, like he doesn't care if he encloses or anything on the top left. Yeah, so I like this a little bit.
And no matter what, because of the P16 stone, I think the top side is just already limited, especially with the E17 stone there. The top side just seems low value.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to come in at C16 to force white to take the top side. But it also makes me feel like D5 should be at a different spot if I did that. So yeah, so that does make sense as to why he didn't do that. And then of course this is a more of an older move next, which is just extending here. Yeah, this is we don't really do this anymore. Like, sometimes we do it, but I think people prefer to press down first now. But
I think this is more because before with P4, P3 was not seen as mandatory. Like, you don't have to play that. Like,
yeah,
black could just play here. Black could play R10 here. And then if white plays P3, black has Sente to do something else. And then there's still Aji in the corner.
Yeah, but now I think it's the idea has changed a bit now. Is that I think they feel like they should do P3 first.
Yeah, because this is too much. If white gets the entire corner, it's hard to say that R10 in the next move will get as much as what white gets in the corner here, because it's a pretty big corner.
Yeah, it's hard to see the exact profit, but it's easier to see with white, so that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and nowadays people really like territory.
Yeah.
Well, the older games are more about balance and negating what the opponent is trying to do. So since black really wants to play here.
Well, yeah, and I haven't studied too many modern Japanese game. So it could be that those games are still more balanced than like Korean and Chinese, but yeah. So yeah, since you're saying that like black wants this point, so white's just going to take it first. Like that sort of idea does make sense. And here, this is where I would have a little bit of a hard time choosing in the next move. Because, like, I mean, going back to C3 seems good, but also I'll want to just P4 right now.
The reason I would prefer C3 is because even if white presses down here, because R10 is low, it's really easy to reduce that area. And it's also kind of narrow, so it doesn't feel like white is getting that much there. So to me, it feels bigger to take the corner at C3.
Yeah, so we'll see. Yeah. So I think it seems that is what he decides to do here. Yeah. So let's see how. Then white takes this side. Now that I do think is a little bit of a weird move, but interesting.
It used to be a really popular Joseki around this time. It started off with C10 because C10 was the first one, and they thought that was better because white can make a 2-space extension on either side. But there's a Joseki here that it just works out better with C9 than C10.
Okay, so it's a Joseki choice thing, which is why you chose C9. Okay.
Because with C10, at the end of this Joseki, which I'm not sure if they play it in this game or not, black can get a extension at C8. And so this stone, C9, is supposed to be preventing black from making a good extension there.
Yeah. And that's usually what pros are looking for. They try to play moves that are just on the edge of preventing their opponent from doing something, rather than trying to get just something for themselves.
Yep. But here I'm not sure how I like this because the relationship between the top left and C9 doesn't seem that good to me.
Yeah, I really don't like E17 right now. If white gets an enclosure, it looks a little better.
But it does look a little bit too far.
Yeah, I still feel like C10 would be a little bit better in that case. And so black just decides to clamp the stone here, try to kill it off, kill off a little bit of the Aji.
And this is another old Joseki. I think I played it in one of the streams.
Yeah, I think.
But it's about getting the outside.
Recently, like I believe this is the move that people like to choose here.
Yeah,
but it doesn't feel very good because white gets this, and so like this doesn't necessarily feel very good for black, but it also doesn't feel bad for black.
And here you can also see that C9 is a little bit better here because if it was at C10, black could extend a little bit further.
Yeah. So it's but this would be like the most modern move, and I believe they stopped doing this move because of white being able to take the corner.
Yeah, and again, like I said, they're more territorial now, so I don't think this is a bad move. I think it's just like here it looks okay, and I think in most situations it looks okay, but
the other one,
modern pros just like territory now, and playing at D4, you can see the territory you get.
Yeah, you see that. You also see the solidness that you get as well. And the other move that people consider here, though, I wanted to mention this one though, is that this one's actually not very good.
Yeah, in
a lot of situations because white has Aji here. Even this new AlphaGo-ish thing that we saw.
Yep.
There's a lot more Aji with this position, even compared to this one. But I would expect, like, what I want white to do now is just play on the top left.
Yeah, normally I think, again, in the older games, they focus more on balance and speed, a little bit more than points. So I think modern pros, they would probably play something like D4 and just take the corner. But here, I think older pros will normally Tanuki this, and then black eventually gets D4. And in old pros, they try to be more efficient. And so they think that because black spent 4 moves there to capture that one stone, that it's not good enough for black. But really, it's a lot of points, and then it has influence, and it's really thick.
Yeah, here I'd probably be expecting, like I wouldn't expect necessarily a follow-up right now. I'd expect a follow-up maybe starting middle game after white already has P4. So if white plays P4 right now and pushes down, then takes the corner, I think that would be okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that would be more modern.
It might be.
But in this game, white plays a move that we don't really see very often. There's this enclosure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, again, I think old pros were thinking that it's just not good enough to play the C16, because you can kind of see this looks like it has better relationship to C9.
Well, yeah. Well, I know that
the C16.
They very much valued 5-space extensions. And so if he plays C16, it's a 6-space. Whereas if you play D15, it's 5 spaces. And then black does have to do something in the top left.
I think a modern pro definitely would never play this. I think they always would play the C16 to take solid points.
Yeah, unless they know for a fact that it's a good move here, they probably would just do C16 every time. The part I'd
probably just play D4 right now.
D4.
But thinking, also something at the top is looking bigger. But
the top is looking good, but I'd also, like, as I mentioned before, like, I feel like white pressing down at P4 is very good. So I kind of don't want to allow that to happen either. Now, there's lots of places on this board that I want to get to. So it would be like whoever gets to the last place first, like the last big place. I think there's a name for that. Anyway, let's see. Let's just see what he plays here.
Okay.
Okay, so he did what you suggested. Just this right away.
Yeah, it's very strong, makes lots of points. And when this is strong, it makes an invasion around C11 even better.
Yeah.
And then it also makes a pincer at like around 03 or something, not as good.
Yeah, but now I would definitely now I would definitely think just pressing down at P4 probably.
Yeah.
Because otherwise black will be able to get a position on the bottom. We'll see.
Yep.
Oh, of course. Going to do this first.
It makes sense.
Does it make sense?
I think so. It looks like he's trying to build a little bit more before pressing.
Well, I feel like this doesn't really build because black's going to be the one who gets the influence here. So this makes sense to me if he's going to pincer in the bottom because he's trying to settle his group before going back to it.
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Well, because this is the follow-up here. Let me just see the... not trying to go too far ahead so I don't accidentally see the next move. But like, see here, it feels like black is the one who actually got more out of this, more of the influence.
Yeah, but it looks pretty easy for white to play something like Q14. And white can also press at the bottom and Sente, and then turn there. And black playing Q14 is not Sente. So it feels like white can build a little bit. And then because we've already said the top side is not worth that much, it seems it might be worth pushing up there and giving some influence on the top side to black.
Yeah, but also because black got the S16 move, that's a really, really big move when you consider endgame. It makes it so that the entire side over there is not really worth it, so white doesn't really want to play Q14 anymore.
I kind of see it a little bit differently. Because of S16 and it's not worth that much territory on the side, makes it feel like you have to get influence there to make up for that end game on the side.
And that is an interesting idea, because I don't know, it feels that's why I don't like the attachment just in general. I don't really feel like the attachment here is good. No, I think just pressing down first, and then you can decide to do an attachment or just an extension, or you can decide not to press down and play on the top. But white decides to just continue on here.
Yeah, like I said, it feels like he has to do this to make up for that end game move. He has to get some influence, and then because the top is still, I think, low value, it's growing a little bit, but it feels like white will either reduce the top or get a bigger corner.
But the problem I see is that because the corner is so open in the top left, it means that if black gets to approach close at like G17, then it provides a lot more pressure on white's corner area.
It does, but there's also some weakness in that upper right corner. Like there's still like the Q17 peep there, to where if white needs to invade, he can use that to try and get a little extra.
But also, like here, it also feels like white didn't gain as much as black. So I feel like white still owes another move to try to balance out what he gained.
Yeah.
And so
Well, he definitely has to push at 013 here. I don't think there's any other move.
well, that's not the move.
Really?
Yeah.
Because black turning there does feel really, really big.
Well, white wants to get profit first, it looks like.
Okay.
This first.
Oh, so he's going to go there. Well, now I don't think I like white too much.
See, it's the same. Yeah, I don't really like white. I feel like he had to push one more time, but then black could potentially Hane because white does have weakness. So maybe what white is worried about is that he'll have to respond again now. And then he'll have to respond again because he has these cutting points, right?
We'd probably have to look at the cut first.
Yeah.
I think he can only push if you're going to cut here. Which might be why he's trying to play in 17 first. So he gets a little stronger there. So when he does cut, he can be more forceful.
So it's possible that the Hane would be too good right now. I mean, because if we just do the normal sort of thing, would be just extending.
Yeah.
And there's some Aji here, right? So it's like it feels like white needs another move on the top for it to be strong, with just the simple variation.
And then it's also giving a lot of the corner away. So he might also be looking at reducing the corner or making it lower value. So like if you go back to where white played, if black responds with something like P18 or O18, the corner is smaller.
Yeah.
Which means he can sacrifice the N17 stone if he needs to.
But I also feel like it might be a bit too passive to play there right now. Like to just do P18. We'll see what he does because I'm not. I think turning.
I would turn
or
13 here
or a pincer. Both of those I think would be like the normal ideas here.
Yeah.
And he's gonna play Tanuki, right? No, he didn't. Okay. So instead of doing P18, he does decide to do the O18 one, be a little bit more aggressive.
Okay. Which it is a lot of points, but it does feel like it makes N17 worth less, to where white doesn't really have to respond to this.
Yeah, it feels like a good exchange for white.
Yeah, and can go back into O13.
Yeah,
because that move just feels huge, and now with that exchange there, the top side, it feels like black can't get that much there. So it does feel like a really good exchange for white.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to respond, but I guess if he turns, maybe he just doesn't want to give up anything here. Like if he has to do this would be sad. But I think, I mean,
and P12 might not be too Sente because
I mean, if he just does
he
this,
disconnect.
It seems bad, and so you'd have to try to be a bit more aggressive here. But this seems difficult, and maybe he could just connect underneath anyway. Or connect, just So it's hard to say.
So there's no guarantee that black will get enough profit to make up for the corner he lost.
Yeah, which is why I was considering possibly the pincer first. Because if he does do the same thing, we'd probably still want to respond in the corner to keep him unsettled. And so now it seems like this
might be too early.
Yeah, it's flowing towards the same direction, but since we already just said that P12 might not be big enough earlier, maybe white's the one who just gets the attack here.
Yeah.
And settling the
and
corner.
Also something in older games, they don't like to fight too early. They like to build solid positions and then fight.
Yeah. Which I think anyone can really learn from that. I think beginners, that's why when you see professionals talking about what pro games that beginners should study, they usually say older games.
Because you get to learn more opening type stuff and direction of play and solid play. The more modern games are a lot more complicated and harder to read.
Yeah, you actually have to know how to read in order to look at them.
And we might review some more modern games, but we're not sure yet.
To find out which ones we'd want to look at.
So I would put my money on O13. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like the only move. So it pushes and black just backs off. So black can't Hane anymore, I guess.
Yeah.
Because we said it does look good for white now.
And now the press down doesn't feel good anymore.
Yeah.
So you might have to pincer here.
Well,
or maybe
that goes back to what I was saying before. Remember? So that I didn't really like the attach because it felt like now you'd have to pincer instead of press down.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you said was that the bottom left makes the pincer easier to fight. So maybe it's more of an equal fight because they're both strong.
Yeah. And then the top right, even though it's not making that many points, it is quite strong. Like I don't think you can really kill that. And so it seems like it would help with the fight.
Yeah, it has some weaknesses, but it does help with settling the stones if Black's able to try to counterattack.
And the other move I was considering here would be something around like J16. But I suppose because the top is low value now, and because of the N17 018 exchange, maybe it's not that big at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit too, like it's definitely too small now. I mean, if Black was weak in that area, then I would play that for sure.
Yeah,
because you'll probably get profit later. But
yeah,
now I think the bottom is, because I've been feeling the bottom was probably the biggest value for a while. So now it's definitely bigger. Let's see.
But the pincer doesn't seem that effective here. This is before Kitani does the R3 attach, so or R4 attach. So it'll probably be a fight here.
Yeah, oh yeah, your
fight
favorite
doesn't
R4,
seem too bad here.
Well, the move that Yoshikatsu played was here.
Oh, the far up.
This seems like it's not really fighting. More so just a little bit of pressure.
It also looks like it's trying to negate the lower left corner a little bit. It's not trying to get too close, but it's trying to get to where it has a 2-space extension there, or it can play O3.
So like it feels like maybe you thought that the N17 exchange was just such a good exchange that he doesn't need to try to be too aggressive anymore.
Yeah, what I would think would happen would be Black plays O3, and then White plays J3. So I think he's wanting not a fight here, but an exchange at the bottom.
Well, I think White has to kick. I mean, Black has to kick first.
The kick seems to me to help White.
Well, because if you just play O3, then White can slide into the corner, then Black's weak. So you have to prevent Black from becoming weak here. But that doesn't mean he won't do it. I just feel like that's like what we'd learn from books and such.
Yeah, but I'm not sure I like the kick here, because then it starts to look like the right side is becoming a little bit bigger.
Yeah, that's why it's like it feels like it's still like this pincer might actually be okay as double approach. So I think this is a better move what he played. Okay, just Kosumi.
Okay,
that makes sense.
Yeah, kind of the in between.
Well, I would say that if he wants to attack, he should be trying to come out towards the center to make it easier for him to escape. And now if let's see what the next move is real quick. Probably just the 2-space, yeah. So now, if White does try to do this thing that I was talking about before, White's already out here like this, down. Yeah. Black can just pressure again. Whereas with this one, this feels like it's much harder to do that. You can still do it, but there's much more to worry about. So if you're going to play this way, it feels like you'd have to kick first, which feels bad as well. Yeah.
So the Kasumi that's probably the one thing I never like to play.
Just something like this, yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel that good, but here it looks okay.
I know you said that normally he would want to do something like this.
Yeah.
But I think here I think I still prefer the Kosumi first.
Yeah.
Because I think this might give White too much. I mean, yeah, so I like this. This is a much better move. And then, of course, 2-space is the only move here.
Yeah. And I feel instead of pressing down, I feel like he would probably kick.
Well, now that he has the Kosumi, it's possible because he could kick and push.
Because if he does kick down, he is reducing a bit, but it's hard to say what he's doing.
Yeah, it is hard to say.
It feels like if he presses down and then White plays the normal continuation where he just connects his stones, it feels like Black would have to play something in the corner to get a base or gets more secure. Otherwise, if White plays, if White plays S3, feels like Black's just floating there.
You're cutting out a little bit.
Oh, whoops.
But I could still hear you. So let's just see let's see what he played real quick. Oh, okay. So he just thinks it's strong enough, and he's Tanuki.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So what I was saying is that if we press down and he just connects up, we'll do this one. It feels like black owes another move somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe this one.
None of them don't feel too good here, but
yeah, this one would be continuing on with the style of play.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's not building much. White is still able to just come in over here, or even slide really far to get a base on either side. So it's not really attacking anything. So maybe what he's thinking is that let's just play this one instead of the other Tanuki. Is that if White tries to do something over here, he can always just settle.
Yeah.
And if White tries to do something over here, then he can just press down. So he has two different ways of getting out, basically.
And something else I forgot. This is one of his earlier games to fight.
He likes to fight in the earlier games.
Yeah, in his earlier games, he's a really big fighter.
Which is what
so he normally
does.
Yeah, so he normally doesn't like or mind leaving a weak group as long as he's strong everywhere else. And here it does seem like the top is the biggest area.
Yeah, because I mean, like it feels. You could potentially argue that the corner might be a bit more urgent, but after seeing that you can go both ways, it seems probably okay. So you just want to take the biggest point, which was this one.
And after black gets strong here, it feels like white might have to do something in the left corner.
The
top left.
Top left. I'm like corner. The left corner.
Yeah. Because if he gets strong there and then he invades, there's a small chance that white gets a little bit weak on the outside.
Yeah, so it's this does add a bit more value to the invasion in the corner, yeah. So let's see if white decides to defend that right away, because I think it's hard to say what's better in the bottom right. So I might want to do something as white on the left side of the board somewhere, or no, the left side seems like the simplest area to play.
I would probably play in the bottom left. Not sure where I would play in the bottom right.
It's hard to say though. That's why I'm not sure.
It feels whoever plays there first gets a big advantage.
That's what it feels like, but it's hard to be sure about what the advantage is yet.
Yeah,
but maybe just preventing the press is probably good.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel that good either.
I know. It's hard to say.
I guess it feels better for black to play there than white to play there.
Yeah. So maybe white with Tanuki.
Yeah.
So let's see what he does. Oh. He's just going straight for this. Like a sort of reduction.
So I guess that area is a bit too big.
I guess if black gets the N13 turn, then like you'd probably have to respond to that, and after that turn, it feels easy for black to sort of solidify that area. So you could sort of solidify it in one more move. They always say that you want to reduce or invade right before they're able to solidify their points. Maybe that's what it was, like that sort of idea.
But here it looks like it's going to turn into a fight. It feels like they're. I'm guessing black will play K17, and then if white plays L16, he's going to jump out to H15 or turn.
The turn would be better, but if you're going to turn, then you just want to push up first, right?
Yeah. Well, normally if you want to jump to the center, you push to K17 first, and then jump out. And if you want the side, you push up first at J16, and then you go to the side.
But there is more weakness with the jump out here. Besides, if you push at K17, wouldn't white just J16 instead and try to connect up, or leave it as an exchange?
Well, it doesn't feel good to play J16 because then there's that saying, the Hane at the head of two stones. So if black plays K17 and then white plays J16, black can just Hane and then double Hane if white Hanes again.
So that's so what Kitani played in the game was this.
Okay.
That's why see, like here Maybe just like to push directly isn't good, but it seems possible that this exchange is already enough to Tanuki as well.
Yeah, maybe.
Because now, I'm not sure. Okay, now if I do this, like, if we respond with simple moves here, this move doesn't seem to do the same as it did earlier to solidify everything. Now, if you push here, there's a lot more Aji to break up this territory. So maybe it's a good enough exchange already.
It might be.
Or if he does this one, like there is just this straight Aji here.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe instead of the knight, just do the turn.
But the turn feels a little bad because of this,
yeah.
or Hane. Yeah, either one. Just if it goes like this, it just feels okay for white. And black's actually not 100% settled if white gets this first. And then if black is the one who has to settle, that means the top left corner is probably going to be solid, right?
Yeah.
So it would feel like...
I don't understand why he's pushing there.
Well, I guess we'll see.
I guess we'll just have to see what he does.
Yeah. We'll just have to see what happens.
Because it feels like it would turn out the same.
Well, because if it's like the other way, like normally you do a knight's move here at L18.
Yeah, here this feels like he has to do that or something, but...
Or maybe he jumps out still.
But jumping out feels the same to where later if white gets K17, then he's just kind of isolated there.
Maybe, maybe like if we look at the other variation, maybe because white's getting out so far ahead of black, because you want to try to stay as far ahead of your opponent as possible. Maybe that's what black doesn't want to happen. So he's trying to be the one to become the one who's ahead. But we'll find out.
Yeah.
Oh, this is interesting. So he pushes again, which makes sense because you don't really want to give G17 too easily. And then he turns. So it's similar, but now white's shape is going to be a bit different here.
Yeah, it's a bit heavier.
Yeah, so now the turn is harder for white to answer. And white plays this move here. So
this
now there's
like
more Aji for black to take advantage of.
Yeah, so it feels like he can always play L18 and he can threaten to connect under or pet off. So here it feels like black will just jump out because he always has that connection or Aji to work with later.
Yeah, so I would agree. And so he's going to push again instead of jumping, but probably because Hane at the head of stuff.
Yeah, that
2 and 3 stones.
Kitani doesn't like knight's moves.
Yeah, but we'll find out here. And he just pushes again.
Yeah, that's something else Kitani is pretty famous for. Is he always pushes from behind. Because here he feels that white's not getting anything with this wall, or there's not anything worth value, but he is getting a wall to do something on the left side.
And since he has the Aji at L18, it's easier for him to settle without giving up the top left corner.
And also because of P4 still there, if he needs to, he can always do that press down at Q6 to reduce the right side. So it feels like black is going to get more here if he can do something on the left.
Yeah, that's why it's like that press down just looked really good for black, but it also didn't feel very good. So now he's making his the move that didn't feel very good earlier on into a better move, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just has to extend, of course. So now he goes into the press.
Okay, yeah. This feels like good timing.
Yeah. But what about the turn at J12? I guess because of L18, it's okay.
Because it feels like he can either connect there or he can live locally.
So I guess if he can live locally pretty easily, then it's not a big deal. So I guess this is just a good timing for this then. Yeah,
and it also feels like if white plays J12, it feels like he has to kill black. Because if black just plays R6 and white doesn't kill or can't kill, it just feels like that's too much profit for black. And surrounding black at the top there, it doesn't feel like it gets him very much. Because the corner will still be open and the influence is facing, because of the D5 corner, it's really hard to build any influence there.
Yeah, but it still would be a really good place to play. Because if black does have to settle it all, and white can get any profit in the top left, then that would be really good.
Mm-hmm.
But white, I agree with what you were saying. But white does also decide that he wants to try to settle here as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The other thing that Kitani is really good at is making influence that benefits him while giving influence to his opponents that doesn't really give them anything, or it's not very efficient. That's something he likes to do a lot. So I think most people, they try to get something and they try to gain more than their opponent, while Kitani's strategy is to make what his opponent can get limited.
Mm-hmm.
To where what they get should be smaller than what he gets because they're limited in some way.
Yeah. And that does seem like what's going on here, because like black is still technically able to cut through white's position at N13.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is potential there and there is influence, but he's already sort of getting rid of that potential.
Yeah.
And there's still the weakness. So but like black's position seems more solid and more powerful on the top left.
And it feels more useful, like for invading the corner or doing something on the left side.
Yeah.
And in this corner, I would have a hard time deciding between R2 and R6.
Well, you don't have to decide between them, or literally between them, I guess, because this is the.
Oh, he goes with that one.
Yeah, I was looking at that too. Our R6 was my first instinct, but then you're not getting much there, and so R2 feels like
it feels like it encloses white into a corner, and then R2 feels like you're getting a little bit more eye shape there, so you're not quite as weak. But I never considered this one because this one looks like it's sort of asking for a trade, because
we'll have to see what happens here, because
what I'm guessing is black is saying, because the top side is so limited, that he doesn't care if white plays Q5. He's just going to connect at Q4 and then play S4 and take his corner. Or if white plays S4, he connects and white has a weaker shape.
Yeah, no, I think there's a, like, after sort of reading the position a little bit, if white does push at Q5, it's possible that you can just block at P5.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't look that far. I was just looking more at the direction.
Yeah, but it feels like you might just be able to literally just block it, because if white tries to cut and everything, it doesn't work as easily as it seems, because he's going to be weak on both sides. Yeah,
his liberties are kind of short.
So I didn't read it all out to see if it worked, but just preliminary reading to see that you might actually just be able to block it in this way. This could be a move we could consider if just depending on how it works here.
Yeah.
Although I never see anybody attach at R3 anyway, so.
Yeah, normally they always play R6 to get out.
Okay, so.
But that also is kind of saying that the top is just not worth anything, that the corner is worth more than the outside here.
Yeah, and white agrees that the corner is just worth more here by Atariing. I think.
Just connect, right?
Yeah, I was thinking, like, is the Ko worthwhile playing? But it's kind of not, because you don't have any ladders or anything. So.
Yeah.
And then white just has to take the
R2,
corner.
right?
Oh, R2 is a little bit questionable because of the cut. So S2.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you R2, then you can just cut here.
Yeah, but it feels like there's S2 is better, but to me it feels like white's not getting anything there anyway.
Yeah, but now, like if white does just take the corner, then white, like, this just seems way too good, right?
but the other way, doesn't white get Sente?
This way white gets Sente here.
And the other way was Sente for black, right?
Well, we'll find out, because we haven't reached the end of the variation yet, I think.
Yeah.
So black has to Atari. This is the normal move here. And
it feels like almost black can just Tanuki here, but maybe
he wants to be
R6,
solid.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also sort of forcing white to live, possibly. I mean, white could Hane at S6, but that gives black even more strength. So maybe just Q2 if he wants to live directly.
Yeah.
And then
Q2 also gives him a peep there if white or if black Ataris.
Yeah. But it seems that that's not what white wants to do, actually. Guess this shows the low value.
Solid connection.
Nope.
Or Tanuki.
This shows the value.
It goes here.
Because now black does this, and this seems bad for white to me.
Yeah.
This could have been a mistake. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know who wins, so we'll find out.
Yeah, but maybe because the value of the top, or what do you call that, like top middle, is almost useless now. That he'd rather get a little bit more on the side, or maybe even get Sente, and just give black a little bit more influence.
Yeah. So no, I guess it's fine, but this just seems to help black settle more, whereas the other way seemed to keep black a bit more unsettled because black doesn't have any eyes, but this move pushes him out into the center more.
Yeah.
But it could still be fine. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
Like, let's see if we compare it to, I guess if we do this one, would black come back and do this right now?
To me it looks pretty good because it gives him eye shape and makes it look more
it does
secure.
give him eye shape, but like, you know, we have the peep thing here, and there's not really another eye yet. Because like even if white just does this isn't an eye because this Atari at all times would be a ko thing.
Yeah.
But even the ko isn't necessarily a good enough there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like
this definitely looks a little bit better for white to me, but
it looks better than the game to me.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it is better because this does give white more opportunity. Because
and then there's no guarantee that the peep at 03 is Sente since the corner is already live, and chances are that
you would just give
that group is not going to be pressured, and then there's nothing in the center, so doing stuff on top to press it down doesn't really help.
Well, maybe it's because white can just go back and do it now. Like he can extend once, black will defend his shape, and then he can go back and take it if he wants to take it.
Yeah.
Because black will it'll probably be something that white can get at any time in the future. Because black's probably not going to.
But here it feels like white has to play S7.
Yeah, it does. It does feel like that. So
because if black gets a move there, it just feels.
He does have to play S7 here, and black does do this. This is why I felt like this feels bad because now there's a new press at Q11.
Yeah,
this just seems too good. And now the cutting,
that group is starting to look weaker.
The cutting at N13 is also looking better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we should probably look at the next few moves and then maybe consider like this might be the end of the opening.
Yeah, I think this is the end of the opening probably here. So maybe we'll go just a little bit longer and see if there's any exchanges before the next invasion.
Okay.
Yeah, so like this move here, White's doing this now. So like that would be
possibly it looks like
the last one, move. The last big opening move here. Now it feels like I guess we can discuss what we would play here as like a middle gamey thing. Because now I sort of want to come out with the middle group on the top as black. Just one time at least. Or try to settle it right away or go into the corner. Like the top left seems like it's a good area. But I guess if I could read out right now that the stick was alive 100%, then I would say invade.
Yeah. I was actually thinking something else.
Yeah.
To me, it feels like black is doing pretty well, and I would consider something like C7. Just to take some little points there and then kind of poke at the corner because it feels bad for white to do anything to defend something like C11. So it feels like you're getting some points there and you're threatening some more weakness on his side.
But what's the biggest threat that white has on the left side there? Like the furthest white can go is probably C6.
Yeah, but it's like I said, it feels like it's bigger for black than it is for white.
Well, I guess potentially the bottom side is weak as well.
And
So
something
maybe
cool we can do here is we might stop here, and we can do something like give options
okay.
to
We'll
the
see.
viewers.
Well, we can see if which option what we think might work is going to actually happen as well.
Yeah, but I think we'll just like we can get like I'm gonna say C7. You can say what you think.
So I think
We can give two other options, and
A.
then we can have the real option that actually happens.
So A is your option.
Hmm.
I think for me, it's hard to say if it is urgent, but I feel like I want to come out here at B.
And I guess then there's the invasion at C17, and then there's Q11, and then there's N13.
Where's Q11?
We probably don't have to put Q11. We can probably just do the
Yeah, we don't need to put
N13.
Q11.
N13 looks big.
Oh yeah, so let us know what you think you would play in the comment section down below, and if you have any questions or comments about the early part of the game, make sure to leave it down below, of course. Yeah. So the next video for this game review will probably come out within the next few days.
Well, I think we'll end the video here. Thanks for watching. Hope it was entertaining. See you next time.
See you next time.